You okay? You want to stand there for a second for me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cute.
To make it go on channel 2.
So the laptop will be there.
This one will be here, and then Tiffany's is going to be right here for the PowerPoint.
Oh, there's a PowerPoint.
But we're not.
You're not going to worry about capturing that.
No, because it's just names. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go check to make sure that it is on channel 2. Good morning, how are you? Good.
This is when you make it early, when you wake up at 5 o'clock, you can go back to sleep.
9 o'clock? That sounds awful.
Last week, I just got sleepy.
Oh, I'm very sorry, that's not fun.
No.
I like my sleep. I don't sleep that well either, but I like it.
Well, I like it during the night.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I thought you mentioned not to have those out right away, so I put them down. Yeah. So no one would grab them. This is it, all right? It wasn't long enough, it went quite fast. Someone, I also, whenever we had early meetings on Mondays, everything. So on Saturday, I'm not going into the next day, Monday, so I'm ready. And I always start.
you're a believer in getting here early, and getting a seat right by the door so you can get out and use this seat.
It's not here early. Just was out and woke up at 5 and couldn't make it.
Well, I can
So
wait
I
until
just finally got up.
about 4. But I used to do that anyway. And I had private phone.
This was 40 minutes after school. It's just every hour.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm sure I'm better off here than I would be much of a deal. Well, I guess I don't have to sit anywhere, hopefully.
You're not in charge?
No, I'm certainly not, and I don't know. Reserved for the IT team.
Okay, well, that's what I,
I'm not an IT member, so I don't.
I am illiterate. I have a new cell phone now. I've got to find somebody to help me with. So I want to hit that tech table with
Well, she gets to sit up there, she's an IT member.
Yeah,
I think I'll just sit by you here and join you, and I will leave for me, if they let me.
something more important.
Well, yeah, this IT, I don't understand. All I know is I push the button and it turns on. That's all I know about it. I, this man, Russell, because a lot of this. And so if we can get this. So I was. Right. It doesn't start, and nothing happens. We all have something to all of our. Say, Russ, that was running last night, but I said, I can't get it running. I'll be right there. It says, John, most computers turn on at the front, not at the back. You would try to turn this thing on by the back. You set up a switch, it's right here. This is where you push, this is the button you push. Watch that.
Good morning.
good morning.
Let's see, reserved.
Yeah.
I need to reserve a place for Russ.
Oh,
Can you push that back?
Would it be all right?
He had.
you want my chair? Okay, sure.
Paying attention. I saw that. That's what I focused on.
Okay.
Apparently that was
I
not
think that's good.
the thing that you start.
You're gonna be a speaker, you know, you over there.
Well,
So you can zip up and go around.
okay,
Not in front of the
Anyway,
camera.
this whole.
Yeah.
What does that sound like?
that sounds right, but I thought
Means moving
maybe
up, not being displaced.
several people would be moving to,
I'll put Russ right here.
you want the piece of paper?
Oh, well, it's you, Ron, and Ellie, right? And Wayne.
Oh, Wayne,
You, Ron, Ellie, and Wayne. I don't know where Justin sits.
yeah, he seems to sort of
He sort of stays up
often
there.
stands around, doesn't he?
We're trying to get the ones that go up to the camera to be sitting. I thought this would be good for Russ.
All of this stuff.
Okay. I told him I was coming down, his place was being reserved. Carolyn said they're getting it. How are you this morning?
Okay. See if we can figure out how to do this stuff.
Well, Elizabeth's right up there. She was right up there. She was right there.
Whoa,
I guess you got that.
that's like an explosion. Come on.
Cause to it. And remember, if you're after Ellie, you'll have to move the microphone.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Russ, here you go.
There's a. I thought about this, and the first thing that came to mind was years ago when I was late to the bowling alley,
What the?
and I found out that I was president of the league.
Oh, dear, we late. That's right. Oh, there's one. Hey, you twins?
How about that? Both were not even planned.
They're moving well tomorrow, so discharge day is today, and we were hoping that OT would be able to teach him how to get in and out of the car. So the ADLs, car transfers, so I'm thinking I'll drive car, because hard to swap. So I drive around the back, and then come out that thing, in that elevator.
Right.
And maybe just be back in, what do you do with walk? Maybe you
Fold it up.
The other laptop's coming back.
Okay.
or somebody else will.
This one we don't touch. We don't touch
Oh,
this.
this is the don't touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I moved it just so the audio would be better. And then the other one will be right here.
Oh, okay. So this is the one. Got it.
With me, I had trouble moving my butt. I had a
Well, that's awkward.
but I had a password line where I couldn't bend it. It was straight,
That's impossible, you have to sit in the back.
No, I just pulled the seat way back.
Okay, so it's muted right now?
Yes, they press that and hold up.
So now it's muted. Okay. It'll go through. Thank you.
Can you show us how to use the,
So this is the one that we're not touching. I scooted it over just for better audio. Justin's bringing the other laptop with the PowerPoint.
with the PowerPoint?
Yeah, so this one we don't touch.
Okay, now, with the other one, to bring up, you hit here,
Correct,
and to go down, you hit there.
correct.
Because I think I'm gonna have to go back 2 slides. There's no slide for my talk. So it'll just go back to the slide that says study.
That's all right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Had a meeting, and wanted me to help
All
them.
your slides
It
are up
was
to date?
like presentation.
What's that?
All your slides are up to date?
So I went up there, and of course, the first thing was the checker didn't work. It was just so frustrating. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yes, you should sit right there.
I would imagine.
Well, I can control that, I guess.
See up there coming.
Yeah, it's what's the one. But I thought there was one. I would have got some. What did we decide by that?
Well, we're going to eat here.
Oh, did they, is that right for you?
I have your.
Yes. That was when sometimes Johnson said, you know, being in page, I said, well, there's sometimes I leave, I went to walk or somewhere.
I have.
Oh, okay, great.
It has a message from Deepak Chopra on it. I don't know. I don't know if it's been working.
Get the back of this thing.
I take it, this is my, I'll hold up, as my mother always said. This is my brother. Oh, yeah. It's on the floor now, expect your.
Then I did not, must have died. You know, 9 steps. Really, I don't know any idea.
And now it's in here.
Yeah.
I was depending on this to go in my report.
Good morning.
See, there's some. I have one.
Your friends are here.
That's on the third floor,
Well, and Grant thought he was gonna, those of us who didn't speak were going to approach
What's going on?
I'm only saying.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen that. And how many years have I been? Who's going to be in charge? What's confusing? Just do not count.
I forwarded it to you.
Of course, I don't have a connection. But I don't need a connection, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, you know what? I better better close my email so that stuff doesn't pop up.
They'll need it up here because they're gonna.
We switched back.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yay! Thank you, thank you. We still have time. But do you want to practice going back and forth?
That's easy enough.
Simple. We like it.
So this is the one on the right, the pushy thing?
Nope, they just changed it. This is the push one. This is the leave it alone.
Oh, my
See, it's
God.
tipped down like this.
Okay, we gotta tell people. See who's gonna
You got Jennifer, Ellie, and you need Ron.
Okay.
This is the one that advances and moves the slides back and forth. Advance, retreat. This is the don't touch one.
Yeah.
So if you get your slide, just go back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but other than that.
This one is just sound.
Right.
This is the PowerPoint.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Is it okay to move this over a little bit?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So that's just for sound? Yes. Okay. Yes. Here goes the camera.
Or did we want it close to the window?
I think you're fine. He's not. Talk to Elizabeth. Hey, it worked well. I feel naked.
So you don't need to go I don't and I'll be able to say
But he's the right person.
But then for your lights, mine are off. Oh, I don't, I was just wondering when I, one leg, so then I cut off and wear It said resident. I said resident.
Okay, good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Outstanding, that's great. For those that don't know, I'm Don Gurney, the Vice Chair of the Resident Council. Welcome to the first in-person Resident Council meeting we've had since March of 2020. It's great to see all your smiling faces live rather than just little images on the computer screen.
No masks.
No masks, that's right, we're doing no masks. Here's today's agenda. Here's today's agenda. Yes, stay close to the microphone. First, let's have a moment of silence to remember and to honor the lives of those who have recently left us. Mrs. Jean G. Bacon, Mr. Hugh Fuller, Ms. Marjorie McKesser, and Mr. Fred Berghofer. Now let's extend a warm welcome to the residents who have just joined us. When I call your name, would you please stand and be recognized? Diane Bender, who moved into the Crossroads. Shirley and Clifford Gay, who moved into the Point. And Les and Mina Whitmore, who moved into the Crossroads pretty recently. Now let's extend a warm welcome to all the residents that have joined us since March of 2020, since we weren't all together and been able to extend an official recognition. Would everybody who's moved in since March of 2020 please stand? Okay, now it's time for the latest update of the happenings here at Goodwin House from our Executive Director, Jason Carwin.
Hey, good morning. I have a few updates to provide everyone this hot, humid morning. First off, Goodwin House, Bailey's Crossroads, will be a polling place come November. So that will make everyone's life a lot easier. Also, about a month ago, Dave Baker, who was the administrator of operations at Goodwin House Alexandria, retired. So the position was open, and we had a great internal candidate, and that candidate was Teresa Thomas. Teresa Thomas was providing oversight and leadership to our environmental services department, which included Tanya McNeely and Bridget Jameson in our laundry. So there was a need to provide leadership in those two areas. So Chris Floyd, our director of facilities, has now assumed those responsibilities. With that, we recognize the need that in addition to Chris's responsibilities, he needed support with all of the $6.5 million worth of capital improvements that we have each year. So we had an internal candidate that was interested, and that candidate was Bryce Scholar, who was Director of Safety and Security. So Bryce's new role is Project Manager in Facilities Management. So we are currently recruiting for Bryce's old position. In the interim, Christy Clarks-Davis is providing oversight along with myself, and Bryce is supporting that as well until we get that position filled. So a little bit of change within the departments, but good change. What else? Unfortunately, we had the incident with the Amazon account a few weeks ago. It's still under investigation with Fairfax County Police Department. As of to date, we've had 2 residents that were impacted by that data breach. So continue to keep your eyes on your accounts just to see if you see any suspicious activity. Please report that to me directly. Also, we are in the process of recruiting and backfilling the position for our IT specialist. So right now, as you can imagine, IT is a little overwhelmed. If you are having connectivity issues because of the Wi-Fi, please direct that directly to me. I'm kind of a liaison with Dave Fowler at the present time to ensure that our residents' needs are addressed. If there are kind of requests that you have that may not be as immediate, you can continue to put your request in through the help desk, and they will triage those work orders as the best they can as they are as they come through. Dave is also looking at a temporary recruitment for that position. So please bear with us as we go through some pain in that department. What else? Crossroads project. I know that some of the colors are not necessarily everyone's favorite, mine as well. So Sydney, our interior decorator, is still going through all the floors and rearranging some of the artwork. And we will be circling back with the floors to look at the colors in the elevator lobby area. So don't worry, we're gonna listen to you. We're gonna change that up to make everyone happy. Not everyone, right? There are some capital improvements that are coming. The beauty salon renovation, the Jefferson dining room carpet will be happening relatively soon. We are also, like Chris and I mentioned in town hall last month, we're still experiencing a real issue with the timing of parts for different mechanical systems. One to include the elevator that was on back order. Unfortunately, the part that needs to be installed has to be inspected by Fairfax County. So Otis cannot just install it and be done. They have to coordinate with Fairfax County, which is continuing to delay that. So similar issues with appliances, getting new appliances ready and in apartments as they are turning over and being renovated. It also includes the yogurt machine. Unfortunately, there was a delay on getting that part, along with the cappuccino machine. So we're just at the mercy of these parts that are being imported over from various countries. So apologies. That's all I have for this morning. There's a lot going on, as you can imagine, but I just wanted to share a few updates and any questions at this time. Yes, Mrs. Nuger. Wait, hold on, wait for the microphone.
Why do you have somebody design?
Wait, sorry.
I think we should not have these interior decorators. We have a lot of problems, like we did with the chairs here. We voted on it. I didn't like it because I'm short, but if everybody else wanted it, it was doable for me. We did it, it's fine, everybody likes it. If you have somebody come in and get something that looks good, what they think looks good, we should be voting, and Zoom, we should be voting, picking things out ourselves, voting on it ourselves, majority rules. Not everybody's gonna be pleased, but majority rules,
Yeah.
our majority.
Yeah.
And that's my suggestion. And the money you save with an interior decorator, have a party with cake and ice cream. Thank you.
All right. Basically, it was a statement about, I'm just repeating back the questions for everybody that's on live or will hear the recording later. The statement being that we should save our money on an interior decorator and really work with our residents on some of the decisions that, whether it's a color palette of the floors or the furniture. You know, historically we have done that. You know, we did that with the Crossroads project. Again, not everyone agreed, even amongst themselves, when we were able to show the fabric and the colors and the carpet. You know, we did that with the auditorium chairs here. We've done that with when we renovated the Jefferson dining room for Fireside. We were able to get resident feedback. Obviously, getting everyone's feedback is a little overwhelming, so we typically do select a focus group to do that. So we will continue to do that as we move forward. Any other questions, Ms. Hunt?
The Fireside is one of the most popular dining venues here in Goodwin House. Can you tell us, or explain to us, I guess is better, how the decision was made to close the Fireside and leave the other two dining venues open? If you go into the Fireside on Friday or Saturday night, it is jam-packed. And you can look over into the JDR and you see maybe 6 or 8, I don't know, I've never seen 8 tables occupied. So could you do a little explaining on that one for us?
Sure. It's the question is, why are we closing Fireside versus the Jefferson or the Bistro? The short answer is just the footprint that the Fireside has versus the Bistro and the Jefferson. The Jefferson and the Fireside or Bistro can support more residents, more meals, and it's just easier to execute when the staffing shortages are what they are right now. So unfortunately, that's been kind of the challenge that our dining services has been facing, is the shortages for cooks, and we're getting our servers as well. We're getting really low, unfortunately, and it's not looking optimistic with the candidate pool. So at this time, Chef Nina and Peter are working the best they can with the staff that they have to support the operations. But this is probably the worst that we've seen it.
Thank you.
Dr. Wilmot?
Is Ruben still on board?
The question is Ruben still on board? No, he's not.
Justin, you know me. I'm gonna make an interesting comment for the people in this room. This building is years old. We are seaside. And I mean that. If you look at this building, what we've done is we have not upgraded this building to contemporary standards, for example. All of your apartments still do not have humidification. You have obsolete air conditioning. We need to reinvest this building, because otherwise we're not gonna get any. We need new tenants to replace us as we disappear. And the new tenants are gonna want standards we're not giving them. Simple as that. I would comment about the interior design. We need individuality on each floor, so when you open the doors so the things, you know what floor you're on. You can't do that now. So you need that, the old wallpaper, I didn't like the wallpaper particularly on my floor. The fact is I knew what it was. And I think for us here, what it does is slow down the process of the elevators. People are not sure where they are, so it takes them longer to get off, because they're not sure if it's their floor or not. I'm serious. It only takes a few seconds.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah, the comment was we need to continue to make capital improvements within our building to keep them updated and marketable for future residents, but also to improve our current residents. So, what's that?
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
The building codes are a little different. They say that if it's been approved now, it stays approved. The building codes read that if it's been approved now, it stays approved unless it's something really dramatic. What happened down in Miami was just poor maintenance and poor construction. They didn't inspect it properly when it started. And if you look at this, you can actually see some comments about this on YouTube nowadays. But if you look, the first thing they showed was the pool room equipment. And you can see the concrete falling off the walls where the rebar was not properly protected. I've been a building inspector for 30 years, and I walk this building constantly looking at things like that. I have not seen any degradation of that sort. And you can't just turn around and say we have to upgrade something. It gets extremely, extremely expensive and long-term to repair.
And just as a reminder, we every 5 years we're looking at having a full assessment of our operating mechanical equipment through our works hub, in our engineers that look at all of potential improvement, shelf life of equipment, and that's put into our system for as we look at capital improvements, projecting for the next 20 years. So we have a really robust log of information that we can pull from, and we're going to continue to keep it current every 5 years. Alrighty, Mr. Hicks.
Hi, just a quick observation. The labor shortage has been widely reported in the papers. Many employers are raising wages as a way of attracting people. Have you thought of that other than closing the lovely fireside?
Yeah, we definitely are in a.
Repeat the question.
Yes, sorry. Question is, are we considering increasing our wages for specifically our dining services staff? So the answer is yes. We're on a trajectory to continue with our living wage increase that Rob has talked so much about. But also we have referral bonuses in place, and we're constantly, as the positions come open, we work with our human resources department, works with consultants in the field to ensure that we're pricing ourselves correctly to ensure that we're competitive in the market. So yes, and it's just tough right now. A lot of the restaurant folks, hospitality folks, have changed gears and are looking at different careers. And a lot of what we're seeing too, or what we're hearing, is a lot of workers are leaving the cities and they're going out. So you're looking at a change in career path, but you're also looking at just the shortage, just the overall applicant pool is very low. Alrighty, I want to be conscious of time. It's 20 after. Are we okay? We're already? Okay, thank you.
Justin, thank you for that informative update, and particularly for the good news about the return of the polling place here to Goodwin House. I find that to be a very positive step in this. Now we're ready for the initial report from the newly formed Resident Council Technology Committee. Committee Chairman Wayne Kelly and 3 of his committee members will provide an update on the progress they've made so far. Over to you, Wayne.
Thank you, Don. The Resident Council in February, realizing that technology was a very important service here, and that it was going to become more important in the future, created a Resident Technology Committee. The committee's mission is to provide a forum
Advance the slides, Wayne.
for, got a slide? Let's see how this works.
Here you go.
Wrong way. Hey, there we are. Okay, everybody hear me all right?
Speak a little louder, Mr. Kelly, a little louder.
Louder coming. All right, guys. They created a tech committee, and the committee's mission is to provide a forum for residents to assist other residents and the administration in producing the best services, technology, and equipment we can have. To get this committee jump-started, what we did was to ask for volunteers who would undertake 3 projects. The first one was a study of all of the equipment we had here, what the residents were using, what their problems might be, and so forth. The second committee was an instruction committee. How can we help residents with instruction? The third one was resources. Where do you go with a computer to get it repaired? So we're now going to get a report on those items. If you would please hold your questions until the speakers get through. If we run out of time, our tech committee will stick around and talk to you anyhow. But to tell you how the survey was done, here is Ron Carpet.
You can tell who's on the committee. The cheering squad. Well, thank you, Wayne. I want to show you this book because it's important that all of you appreciate that all of the data from the survey and the survey summary and the questionnaire are in this blue binder. This is going to be placed later this morning after the meeting in the library. So as you walk in the library, right to your left, where West Winds and Resident Council minutes are, will be this book. So it's available for you 24/7, 365 days a year. So all the data will be available for you to review at your leisure. Today, what we want to do is just to share with you the fact that, as Wayne pointed out, that the sign-up sheet, and what's amazing, I just joined this community a little less than a year ago, and it's just amazing to see how many volunteers, how many people want to be engaged in activities. It's really cool. You ought to be continue to congratulate yourself. So after the sign-up sheet, Andrea Baumann was appointed as head of the census study group. She put together she defined for the group what should be done and when it should be done. And so we started. And on February 18th, we had our first Zoom meeting of many meetings. And we've had multiple meetings of the committee to draft the questionnaire itself and to decide on the format. We went through at least 13 renditions that were still on my computer, and I don't know how many are on Judith's computer, but Judith enthusiastically rewrote, revised, and retyped these so that we could look at them in a fashion which was understandable to the rest of us on the committee. So we'll continue to laud what she has done. We then decided to have SurveyMonkey, and Justin was very kind to give me his access to SurveyMonkey. Then Mike Molino and I sat down and put all of the questions into SurveyMonkey. And we had to do that. I had never done a SurveyMonkey before in my life, so it was a learning experience. But Don Gurney sent me the SurveyMonkey manual, so I was able to look at that. And Mike Molino has had some experience with SurveyMonkey in the past, so things worked out, and we were able to put the questionnaire into the SurveyMonkey. We had to do that several times because I didn't realize that there are check boxes and there are multiple choice, and they're different. If you have multiple choice, you hit one multiple choice, and you say, oh, I want that one too. No, it doesn't work. So that's where you need check boxes. But it's an interesting learning experience. And so, as I say, we then put the survey into SurveyMonkey. We then made a list of all the apartments in Goodwin House, Bailey to Crossroads by just apartment number. And when the surveys were submitted, I was notified, and so I could check off those apartments which had sent in a survey. And I should mention, we decided to go by apartments because it would get too confusing to ask each individual, how many TVs do you have? Well, I've got half a TV because my spouse has another half of it. So that wouldn't really work. And so we did decide to go by apartments, and that's what makes the numbers somewhat confusing at times. But think of everything as an apartment. So that when the survey came in, I checked it off. And then after about a week, during which time the team was fantastic. You saw them down in the rotunda. They had tables set up, they had their laptops in front of them, and every afternoon around dinner time, they were there for the first 7 days to help residents. Not only help residents, they had this big hook. They pulled them in. Somebody walked by, they tripped them. They got them to come in and work on the survey. So they really, really worked. After about a week, we found out that there were some apartments that had not responded. So made a list of those apartments, went back to the team, and the team said, well, I know that apartment, they're across the hall, or these are all on my floor, or this person works with me in the garden. And so the team went out scurrying around, knocking on doors, picking up telephones, going out in the garden with their laptop or a paper survey to get responses. They were fantastic, really, really fantastic. Somebody said if we had trouble with the COVID vaccination, we should hire this committee to go out because they would get everybody vaccinated. We did send the survey out by West Winds as a hyperlink, the Goodwin House website, and we also sent it out by emails. And the only caveat I have there is that we wanted to get as broadly spread as possible, but then some people filled it out several times. So I had to go back in cull out the second and one third time that somebody submitted a survey. The data was collected from April 27th through May 22nd. We had 287 responses, 287 apartments responded. And at that time, there were 311 occupied apartments. And so that gives us a response rate of 92%, which is fantastic. I did a Google survey this morning, and for in-person surveys, it's 21 to 54% is the usual response rate. So you all need to be thanked and congratulated for working on this survey. As was pointed out by Wayne, the administration needs our input, or they really want our input, and they think they're open to our input. So now with the survey data, we can go there and share it, and we will. We've got binders for them also, and we can pound on the desk. We can say, these are the numbers, and so hopefully things will improve for everyone, for Goodwin House administration as well as us. The analysis began on June 2nd, finished up on June 28th. And SurveyMonkey is interesting because it does have lots of capacity for analyzing. Unfortunately, I didn't learn some of those tricks until late in the game. And because you can compare questions and you can come in, like one, I'm trying to remember what it was, but there were 39 responses that just didn't seem right. So I was able to cull those 39 out. I could look at each one of those survey responses. So that apartment, I could look at all of their 18 answers and check to see just what was going on. And but one of the questions was, how many of these devices do you use? And somebody said 5 CPAPs, for continuous positive airway pressure for obstructive sleep apnea therapy. So just recently I went in to find out who those folks were. And it turned out they misread the question. They thought we were rating devices, 1 being bad, 5 being good. And so you'll see that 5 still sitting there because I didn't know how I could have changed that earlier in our analysis. Turns out that one person has 3 CPAPs, but that apartment has 3, but only uses 2. I thought all of this was Russ's closet. That he had 85 computers and, whatever, but he was not the outlier in all of it. So here we are today to share with you. And I would like the survey group to stand up because they have been a fantastically hard-working group, all free, no dining dollars involved, nothing, just our camaraderie. So, Andrea, our chair, Carol, I'm going to mispronounce it. Carol B, she tells me it is a good contraction, but Biondelio. Ren Gurney, Mike Molino, Marty Aherns, Jennifer Frum, Carol Hunt, and Judith Miller. They all sat down, but they really need to be elevated in our eyes because they did lots of hard work. So look for the material in the library, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Ron. And I'm going to give a brief survey of what we found, just some of the highlights. If you want to get more detail, you can take a look at a printed copy of our survey that'll be available outside as you leave. And it's organized by subject categories, so you don't have to read the whole thing. You find a subject you like, you want to know about cell phones, you look at that. The pandemic really focused our attention on technology here. And it also revealed some things we could do better. 90% of the residents in our survey said they use computers televisions, and other devices to stay in touch with friends and family. 81% used our website, our excellent website, to stay in touch with protocols and other things. Many followed broadcast news, ordered from retailers, or used FaceTime or Zoom to stay in touch. In other words, residents used their devices to stay connected, person to person, or person to groups. And they managed to cope with the isolation here. Without the internet and these devices, we would have been really at a disadvantage. After the very successful Goodwin House vaccination program, we're approaching what is called a new normal. It's time to see what we have learned and how we can use that knowledge. Here are some figures from our survey. Residents have 524 computers and tablets, 406 televisions, 328 cell phones. Altogether, we counted 2,174 devices used by the residents in independent living. So what do we do with all this stuff? Well, 91% of the residents get email. Good way to stay in touch. As I said, people use their devices to get in touch with friends and family. More than 70% of the respondents said they watch TV news, order from Amazon or other retailers, and use Zoom or FaceTime. Respondents reported dozens of other uses as well. We didn't get any really big surprises. What's a big surprise? Well, you remember the old Blockbuster video stores? Then along came Netflix. That was a big surprise. So many of the things that we thought were going to be true turned out to be true. So you might ask, why would we do the survey? Well, you need a survey to quantify things, and when you solve problems, you need to understand them, the magnitude of the problems, and come up with solutions. So this survey has given us a great deal of information. Interpreting data is tricky. Mark Twain wrote that there are three kinds of lies. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. So we asked specifically, what problems our respondents encountered? In order of magnitude, they were accessing TV channels, Wi-Fi service, getting tech assistance, and the slow speed of devices. To cross-check, we also got 370 written responses where people told us what they liked, didn't like, their problems and other things. And they pretty much confirmed our key problems, which were television and Wi-Fi. What else did we learn? We thought that new residents coming in would be more tech savvy and more demanding and so forth. So what Ron did was he segmented the survey, and we took the people who were here for less than 2 years and compared them to a group of people who have been here for more than 10 years. Here's what we found. New residents use more portable devices, such as cell phones, laptops, and tablets. They have more smart TVs. They're twice as likely to stream television, which of course puts a big strain on Wi-Fi. Use among the two groups, the newcomers and the old-timers, was similar for a few things. Desktop computers were about the same, regular TVs. and smart speakers like Echo. That seemed interesting to us because the smart speakers are recent on the market. Why would people from both be using them? And our conclusion there is that they're easy to use. You can make a phone call. You can turn on your lights. You can get information. You can talk to Alexa or Siri and do a lot of things. Voice-activated devices are more empowering, and we need to see more use of those. Now, owning a device is one thing. Knowing how to use it is another. We asked residents what types of instruction they might like. 2/3 said personal instruction, person to person, one-on-one. But another 44% said classes would be fine. So we gave a list of topics, possible topics. The most popular were the use of Zoom and training in security and the functions and uses of cell phones. Cell phones are marvelous. They may hook up to your hearing device, they may hook up to your computer, you can do banking with them. People get a cell phone, they're given a cell phone, and they don't know exactly what all the uses are and how they can take advantage of them, and that's going to be one of the things that our committees look into. So I want to give out a shout this morning to a couple of organizations, Life Enrichment, Tiffany and Elizabeth. They've been wonderful. During the pandemic, they connected us through Zoom. Committees could meet through Zoom. They filmed programs and put them on Channel 2. And today we're broadcasting directly through Channel 2. They're getting some more resources soon, and they'll be able to edit film. They'll be able to create more programs, and they do a lot of instruction that the residents couldn't do. They can reach out to pull in speakers and so forth. Want to make a special thanks too to Justin, who backed our survey and got the resources we needed. These are just some highlights. And we're providing a print summary, as I say, on the table. As you want to pick it up, you can go to the library. Report will be available as well on the website. And I think that they'll be of interest. We've already helped out a little bit. Management was looking into whether to replace Senior TV, a satellite program, with Cox Broadcasting, a cable program. And they wanted to know a little bit more about what residents thought about television. Our survey had many, many comments on that, and we turned the information over to them. We had a little meeting with them and asked if the information we had would satisfy their needs to do research without focus groups, and they said it was going to be a help. So that's the kind of stuff we want to do. And now I'm going to ask Ellie Caro to talk to you a little bit about the instruction and classes. Ellie?
Good morning. Good morning. The classes group has tackled the task of identifying and offering useful information technology classes to the residents of Goodwin House in coordination with Life Enrichment, which both residents and outside volunteers would present. Of course, part of the task was waiting to see your responses to survey question 15. We have taken your answers to heart. We're in the process of developing both classes and in future days displays which will pique your interest in some of the new devices designed to make both you and your apartment smarter. At the moment, we invite you to watch West Winds for our announcements. You will recognize them because they will include our logo, which you can see on the slide. We have taken your answers. No, we have developed a class to show you how to use Siri more effectively. This is for iPhone users. Voice commands are often easier and quicker to speak than sentences are to type. But there are techniques you can learn about voice commands which make them more useful. The survey revealed that many of you would still like to learn more about using Zoom. A word we did not recognize 18 months ago has become part of our lives, and will continue to be used along with in-person meetings. The first class will review Zoom features and manners. It will be helpful to anyone still hesitant to Zoom and anyone who would like to understand more about the chat and the share features. Our future plans include small classes on topics the recent survey suggested, on ideas that present themselves as we go along as well. Currently, a number of residents want to know better ways to organize their email or phones or desktops. We're considering a class on how to organize your IT life. Watch West Winds for announcements that sign-up sheets are out, and join one of the small, friendly classes. Try it, you'll like it. I'd like to now introduce the members of the classes team, if they would stand. And can you all stand? Oh.
The slide.
The slide went forward.
Back again.
I hit it with my hand. Okay. We have Carol B. and Ren Gurney and Janet Horowitz and Ron Carpet and Rick Blackston, and Jean Springman is also a member of our team. She's not here today, but she's been very much helpful to us as we've gone along. So now I would like to introduce Jennifer Fromm, who's going to talk about the resources team.
Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, everyone. Our group was told to find out about resources, which we are taking to mean resources to help with hardware, equipment, that sort of thing, rather than showing you how to use a particular feature. And so we have developed a list of places that are close by and have very good reports from residents and others. And we would love to add to that list, so anyone who has a great experience with any, basically, company or possibly a consultant, please pass it on to us, and we will make these resource lists available to residents. So, and we hope to continue that in the future. Thank you. So now I'm going back to, my group better stand up, which is Marty, where is she? And Lynn Jewell and Ron Karpik and Wayne, of course, who was helpful with all the groups. So thank you very much. So back to Wayne.
A group that needs to be mentioned is one you're probably familiar with. It's called the IT Help Group. It was formed during some of the darkest days of the pandemic when nobody could leave and we couldn't get any visitors here. So all your grandchildren couldn't come in and help you with your computers. That group has served innumerable people here. When we asked people where they got their help, about 58% said from IT, from management here, maintenance. Almost that many, about 56% said they got it from friends and family. But one of the surprises, if there was a mild surprise, was that the IT help group ranked third at 44%. More than 103 people said they had been helped by this group with their personal care. That group is still working and we're supporting it. Several of the members joined our tech committee, and we're really happy to have them doing things like a meeting in the mornings, sometimes in the breakfast room, to assist anybody who wants to come in. And they've solved things ranging from hearing aids to computer problems. And at this point, I'd like to offer a special tribute to a gentleman who has meant so much to our groups and to you. This is a guy who over the last 4 years has spent hundreds of hours, his own time, some of his own money, to assist residents one-on-one. He's done things like on Sundays, somebody was having trouble getting a church group Zoom, he would go to their apartment and help them connect. For people who sometimes forgot what the solution was, he would go back to their apartment again and again. He's rebuilt computers. He has been an inspiration. He has led by his example. And I want to recognize Russ O'Connell, if you would stand up. How many of you have been helped by Russ? Raise your hands. Oh my God, look at that. Russ, very impressive. Thank you so much. Now we're going to go into our question phase, and I'm going to ask Ron and Judith to come up, and they'll take any questions from the audience. They'll repeat them and answer them. And Ron.
Thank you, Wayne. Okay, just to familiarize yourself with the logo, which we hope you all will remember and remember and remember. There it is in front of you. So if you see that, it means it's the IT Tech Committee working hard on your behalf. So please, I don't memorize material, so I've got some of it in my hand, but any questions, please? Okay.
I have a question. Why don't we have a forum? I mean, this is the 21st century, and I know most condos, civic associations, even neighbors, they have forums, and you can communicate. They told me that you put up a paper up in the mailroom, people respond, and they write on it. Well, this is the 21st century, and I think this time we need forums for everything from seeing a mouse in the field or having a problem, or they want to get together and have a party, or they throw a blooper. We really need a forum. I'm computer illiterate, I can't do it. Is there anybody here that knows how to set up a forum? Because we desperately need it.
Sure. So the question is, why doesn't Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroad have a forum or a chat, so where people can communicate online? I came from Lake Barcroft, and we have a very active one in Lake Barcroft. That was not part of the survey, but it's a great question. And I'm sure the people in the audience will give us an answer sooner or later. Thanks.
Sorry, I am guessing that your entire survey was done with independent living. Is that correct?
Our entire survey was done with it was done with independent living. We did ask the social workers on the second and third floor of the Crossroads to solicit material from some. We got 6 responses from them, so not a large number, and we didn't analyze them by themselves as of this minute.
Okay, so is there any plan to go further with that, or is it just the feeling that the independent living is an entity and offers enough for the needs, the information you might provide to management, for instance, of our needs?
The question is whether we're comfortable with what we've gotten or is there a way that we can get more information about communication on the second and third floors of the Crossroads? The committee looked at that, but we were overwhelmed initially with just trying to get all of the independent residents. So as of this minute, but where is Andrea? Whether we will look into that. It's more difficult, as you appreciate, because it is probably going to be a one-on-one resident. And since it was during COVID, the committee members couldn't go there. So we had to rely on the social workers. So that's the reason I think we only got 6 responses from those 2 floors.
Question. There's talk now that we will be moving from the current senior TV setup that we have to Verizon. Are you prepared to help us with that transition?
The question is, are we prepared to help with the transition from senior TV or direct TV to Verizon? Actually, I don't think Verizon is on the roster. I think it's Cox TV that Goodwin House is looking at.
Whatever.
Right. And your question is a good one. I think the committee will try to help, but I would think that Cox, if that's who's chosen, and administration should be forefront helping us make that transition and helping us residents understand how to use that better.
Thank you.
Back on the Cox thing for a minute, I just wanted to know, will they replace TV, Wi-Fi, and phone, or just TV?
You're asking, the question is, will Cox replace TV?
Will Cox then be our Wi-Fi carrier, our TV carrier, and our phone carrier, or will it just be doing TV?
I understand. I'm repeating the question because the people on Zoom can't hear you, and therefore they can hear me talking to this microphone. So I apologize for the redundancy. So the question is, if Cox comes in, will they replace television, Wi-Fi, and our computer needs? The answer is the survey committee really didn't get involved with that. And I have the feeling that, well,
I've got an answer. According to Justin, this will be replacing, Cox will be replacing the TV, not the Wi-Fi, and not your phones.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, Dr. Wilmot.
What is the relationship?
Wait 1 second.
I'm just curious about what is the relationship between this committee and the website? There was a website committee, I believe, that you could direct concerns to. Is this all under one umbrella now?
The question is what's the relationship between the IT committee and the website? I don't, again, the survey was not designed for that. Russ is whispering in my ear that there is no relationship between the two.
Other than that, the website team will certainly is delighted to have the information. And, it's useful as we plan what kinds of things we might want to spend your donations on as we expand the website.
Right, Claudia has said that she would be willing to become more involved, but at the moment not. But personally, I found Claudia and her team to be exceedingly responsive. I sent her an email this morning saying, would you mind putting up the summary of the survey on the website?
It's there.
Maybe 10 minutes later, it was there. So if you want the survey and you don't want to pick up a paper copy, it's on the website, front page, and it's also under the resident council minutes. So Claudia and her team is really responsive to us. They're fantastic as far as I'm concerned.
Last question. No, he wants the last question.
One more question.
Miss-
Mr. Hicks,
I have the,
Norman Hicks.
I have the mic.
Take it away from him.
You did a great job, Ron, considering you're a pulmonologist, not a computer guy. But I have one issue. I didn't hear any specific recommendations that you're making to management, based on this committee, based on this survey. What specifically are you going to suggest that management do?
Okay, so that Norman Hicks is saying, how is the survey going to be shared with management, and how will we get management to carry out some of the things that we all residents would like to have? Prayer. Well, I don't know. I am impressed with Justin. As I said, we talked with him, and within an hour, I got SurveyMonkey access because of Justin. So I think my personal feeling is they seem, Justin and the group seem to be very responsive to us. And I know Wayne Kelly and and I'm sure others that I really don't appreciate how good they are working with us, but they're going to go down to Justin's office, pound on the table with a shoe or something and say, listen and do, and we're not going to let this just zip by. I did hear, that many people said, well, we've had surveys in the past and nothing's happened. I don't think that's going to happen here if our team can and are willing and will continue. So if Justin closes his door, well, we can knock it down, but I think that access will be there and that will get things accomplished. And if you find things that aren't being done, let us know. Wayne Kelly lives over in the Point. He's got a phone number in the directory, so just give him a buzz. Thank you all for everything.
Well, as you can see, the Technology Committee, I think, has done a super job of gathering information and developing information that we, the residents, can use, and we can look forward to seeing more of it. I'd say hats off to all the volunteers that have worked on the Technology Committee and have been working on the IT support group that have, this is a perfect example of how residents have shared their skills and their time with other residents to make life a lot easier for us and to help us adjust to the new changing world of technology, which changes rapidly in front of our very eyes. That being the case, let's give all the technology committees a big hand. And on that note, I adjourn this episode of the Resident Council Community Meeting. Everybody have a good time. If people want to stick around, the Tech Committee will be available to answer your individual questions. If you'd like a copy of the survey, a hard copy, there are copies outside the door on the table.